It's just, so amazing and cool and empowering to be a part of this amazing forum of powerful women speaking to powerful women. I love the vibe that we have going here. And I've been watching some of the presentations, and I just love that the messaging that we're all sending is very similar, and we're vibing on the same vibe. And that's just so cool to me. So I'm super excited to join you here today to join me in kicking diet culture to the curb. My goal is to educate, pique interest, have you really be curious about what you can do for your unique body. Every single body is different and unique and should be treated as such. Right? So I really want to empower you to feel confident in your body and to help you work towards whatever goal you have for your overall wellness. And to me, wellness doesn't mean fit in your skinny jeans, right? It means feel happy and healthy in our body, feel safe and confident, and happy in our mind, right? I like to call that yucky voice we have in our head, the itty bitty shitty committee. And I just want to get rid of that, right? It means to feel happy and healthy in our body, feel safe, healthy, and confident in our mind, and to feel a connection and peace to that which is greater, whatever that looks like for you. And I'm here because she is me. Right? I have been a perpetual dieter. I have been the one who needed to chase skinny. She is me. And I tell this tale because I've been on the journey to understand my body, my mindset, and how to bust out of diet culture. And I hope that that resonates with you. So let's get into it. Diets. Right? Am I right? Have you ever been on a diet? How was that for you? Was it a positive experience? What worked well? What didn't work, and then what happened when the diet was over. So we're going to talk about why diets don't work and what does. I mean, after all, chances if you are here with me, you've tried 1, 2, maybe 10, maybe hundreds of diets, and we keep having to try another one because the weight just doesn't stay off, and we veer off the plan, or we break the rules of the diet and fall off track, or we give up and say, screw it, this just isn't fun. I want to talk about diets from a physiological perspective and how we're approaching food. So bear with me, as some of it will get sciencey, but it's only to help explain this from a scientific perspective. So the research out there shows that diets actually don't work. There are hundreds of them: keto, vegan, South Beach, low carb, low fat, Atkins, cabbage soup diet, paleo, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And all they're doing is making these little differences in ratios, sometimes big difference in ratios of macronutrients, which are carbs, proteins, and fats, right? So basically each different diet is telling us these foods are good and these foods are bad. And each diet labels different things, good or bad. So if we think back to the 80s, if you were born then, and the fad diet then was fat was bad, right? Then we saw low fat everything in every grocery store everywhere. And now, in this day and age, we have the keto diet, for example, which says most of your calories should come from fat. No wonder we're confused. But at the end of the day, research indicates that 95% of people who diet and lose weight will gain back all of the weight and more within a year of stopping the diet. That's almost everyone. That is sad, right? It makes me really sad. This is not a doable situation. It's not fun, and it's actually harmful. And on top of that, it makes the dieter feel like it's their fault. So they feel terrible about themselves. If only I could have stuck with it, then it would have worked. But I didn't stick with it for so many reasons, right? It wasn't easy. It told us our favorite things were bad. We were starving. It didn't account for eating out, vacations, parties, or wine. Dr. Mark Hyman is the author of a book called Food, What the Heck Do I Eat? And he also wrote this great article called The Reasons Most Diets Fail. So in that article, he said the reason that diets backfire is because people simply restrict too much. And I just want to throw it out there. We restrict like crazy because we want the results right now. But that's not the safest way to lose pounds, and we'll get to that later. So they allow what they do because they want this end result fast. We allow the number of calories that we consume to drop below something called our resting metabolic rate. What is the resting metabolic rate, you ask? So the resting metabolic rate, or the RMR, is the basic amount of calories you need just to run your metabolism or your body on any given day, just to perform basic functions like breathe, think, pee, right? Let your organs do what they're supposed to do. Like if you never got out of bed and you didn't expend any energy, then you'd still need a certain number of calories for your body to just work, to keep you alive. So going below that RMR is scary. How can we expect our body to work optimally if we're starving it of the calories it needs just to operate? So we have these powerful genetic forces that control our survival behavior, meaning we are still a product of our ancestors' DNA. So our body's control systems were designed to produce hormones that make us eat more and gain weight whenever we have the chance and not lose it, because that's how we survived in the past, right? Because in the past, there were times of famine. So our body was like, eat up because we don't know if there's going to be food tomorrow. So even though we've evolved over thousands and thousands of years with definite periods of food scarcity, in the today, here and now, we haven't ever in human history known this much overabundance of food. And in fact, this is the first time in human history more people are dying from eating too much than too little. So the genes and the hormones in us that control our eating behavior were shaped in the times when there was food scarcity. And that's why if you eat fewer calories than your resting metabolic rate requires, which is pretty much what every diet mandates, right? This is where the 1,200 calorie diet came from that we were preached to about. That's garbage, by the way. Then your body instantly perceives danger and it turns on an alarm that's going to protect you from starvation. It's going to slow down your metabolism, right, to save that food because we might not eat again tomorrow. And it's going to store your food as fat because the body's not sure. I might need that later, so I'm just going to store it on our ass and stomach just in case. And as a consequence, your body also goes into starvation mode and it says, eat, 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 please eat. So you start eating, you inevitably break your diet, and you're starving. So you binge, you gain the weight back, right? Have you ever had that experience? I definitely have. It is the classic yo-yo weight or yo-yo dieting scenario, right? So you think you've been good on your diet, so you allow yourself a cheat day, as your body thinks. Then your body thinks, she's not going to feed us for a long time, so we better keep this stored as fat, right? So we have that cheat day, and then we go back to the diet the next day. And in the meantime, our body is just going to hold on to that just in case. So to make matters worse, when you lose the weight, only half of what is lost is actually fat, and the rest is muscle. But when you regain the weight, it's nearly all fat. So this is important because fat cells are mainly used to store energy, and our muscle cells actively utilize and burn energy. So the fat cells are not going to burn calories like muscles do, right? Muscle cells are going to burn calories. But when you go on a diet and you lose muscle and you regain the weight as fat, what it means is that yo-yo dieting makes you actually lose a huge part of your metabolic engine because you're losing muscle tissue, regaining fat. So actually, as you regain, you're losing that capacity to burn. So every time you restrict, lose fat and muscle, you regain mostly fat. The requirement to lose it the next time becomes much harder because you have less muscle to help you burn fat. That's a bummer, right? So we all might know people who struggle with their weight and say, I actually don't even eat that much. And they still can't lose weight. And they're not lying because when people go on diets over and over and over, they're generally making themselves bigger over time because they're losing so much muscle and gaining fat. And that is totally a bummer, especially for someone who realized, wow, I've dieted my entire life. No wonder it's causing all this struggle. All I've done is messed up my metabolism. So if this approach doesn't work, right, because this is all we've been taught, this is all we've been pushed, when we're in our most desperate times, diet culture really preys on, I need something right now, right? And we're willing to dole out the money for the pill or the supplement or whatever it is to get quick results. So if this doesn't work, what the hell does, right? What do we do now? So I'm going to suggest my entire program, which is currently called the Total Transformation Program and transitioning into the Ditch the Diet solution, is a whole new approach. And I really believe that it starts with a mindset shift, a shift into a healed relationship with food, right? One where we understand and truly believe that food is food, right? Erase that good food, bad food mentality. A shift to falling in love with ourselves, body, mind, and soul. And a shift to understanding how to fuel our own unique body without restricting or fear of breaking the rules. A shift from judgment to curiosity, I always say where there is curiosity, there can be no judgment, right? Let's start wondering instead of judging. So in my 90-day program, we do dive into all of these shifts and more. And we say goodbye to diets forever and learn more about where our beliefs come from, why we emotionally eat, and how to fine tune listening to your body. So today, I'd like to kick off that mindset shift and introduce you to 8 new paradigms about nutrition and food and body that is going to start to really create that real transformation or that real shift in beliefs about all of those things, right? These are the paradigms that I use to guide my clients as they embark on their journey with me. So what exactly is a paradigm? A paradigm is a guideline that we hold as true, right? But notice as I go through whether you agree or disagree with bits and pieces of each. It'd be cool if you could jot down your thoughts and your notes as we go through each one. And then I do want to hear from you. My Facebook page is Jenn Cullen Wellness. You can just easily search that on Facebook. It's an open group where I love to have these conversations with people. So drop your comments on there or your questions. You know, which paradigms do you agree with? Which paradigms do you not agree with? Or which ones have you wanting to know more? So here's the first one. There are as many diets as there are people on the planet. And what this means is that every body is unique. The needs it has is unique. No two people are exactly the same. No two people have the same metabolism, the same digestion, the same hormones, the same food sensitivities. So while some components of some diets might work for you, your right diet is one that factors in the nuances and quirks from your unique body. So the keto diet, for example, may have worked great for your husband or your friend, but it isn't working for you. And that's highly possible, and that's okay. The keto diet, by the way, works way better on men than it does on women. That's a story for another time. Second paradigm is very similar, which is what is healthy for one person might not be healthy for you. So your perfect way of eating is not necessarily someone else's perfect way of eating. Maybe you have stomach challenges all your life. Maybe you can't eat gluten or dairy. And you might look at someone who can eat anything they want and be like, wow, they're 100% fine. If I ate that way, I'd be a mess. So what is healthy for one person might not be healthy for you. So this is where food journaling can really be a help. Journal what you eat, how you feel after, how you feel 3 hours after, and maybe how you even feel the next day, right? Often we talk about food journaling and writing down what we ate, but do we talk about or pay attention to how it makes us feel over time? Number 3, your body is actually the most powerful, least expensive, and best experimentation lab in existence. And why is that? Because your body has this innate wisdom that is deeper than any book or authority. You really are sitting in one of the most sophisticated labs there is, and you have access to it 24/7. Your body is this magnificent machine that is managing and handling thousands of processes without us even being conscious of it. We couldn't even run everything in our body. It's happening all on its own because it's connected to some innate source of knowledge. And we often take that for granted. We sell our bodies short in so many ways. But we forget that every single cell in our body has an innate knowledge and wisdom of exactly how to operate perfectly. So when we can sort of accept and respect the body's knowledge and authority, and then understand that this body of mine really is an interesting place. But we want to remember that every cell in our body needs nourishment. So when we start feeding it pills and shakes and fake supplements, our cells are like, what the heck is this? And how do I use it? And our amazing bodies find a way. And we might not feel it right away because our bodies are amazing and they do what they need to do to keep it working. But there might be damage long term, right? It might be harmful to our kidneys or our liver or the cells themselves because they're working so hard to make sense of this foreign substance that our body can't really use. And a lot of diets suggest these non-food things that our body doesn't really need, and they have to work really hard to digest it or process it. So again, we want to become curious instead of judgmental about our bodies and discover that this is a place to experiment with foods and water and sleep and mindfulness. There are no rights and wrongs. There's no moral judgments like I'm good or I'm bad or my body's good or my body's bad. This is just curiosity about what's working and what's not and what's happening. And we have to tune into the body and listen and maybe journal, try new foods, be mindful of what we really need to nourish our body right down to the cellular level. The fourth paradigm, Diets are not useful as rigid rules, has to be this way or that way, even if they're proven by some authority, because they bring up a moral judgment. So again, there's that word judgment, right? A diet has rules, and there are likely some doctor or scientist telling you why this is the best diet or this is the way to eat. But again, there are restrictions in that. If I'm not following the rules of the diet, then I'm wrong or I'm bad or I'm falling short. Now we're back into judgment and we're out of curiosity. We're back to judging ourselves for not following the rules of the diet. However, I do think diets are useful as references or as resources, right? We want to watch, making sure we're not giving our power to this external source again, right? That this diet says this, therefore I must, even though it makes me feel like shit, right? Consider that each diet may have a little nugget of wisdom for you. It might contain one nugget, one piece of gold, or something that's helpful for you, something that you might want to apply. We're taking nuggets from here, from there, from everywhere that are mostly widely agreed upon, and then we can release ourselves from the rigidity. It's like we're trying to hook into diet so that we have some sort of order, right, to our eating or our life, or to have a sense of control. But what we end up doing is creating disorder, right, because we're giving the power to the rules of this diet. And that's actually called disordered eating, right? When we start saying, this is good, this is bad, I am allowed, I'm not allowed. I ate this yesterday, so now I have to run 10 miles or whatever, right? That's disordered eating. So what I'm inviting you to do is explore, how do you begin to open up to the flexibility and honor your innate wisdom, your gut feelings about what might be right for you and what might be wrong for you, right? After we can have those experiments and really fine tune, I ate this today, and when I woke up the next morning, I was groggy and felt terrible. Are they related? Right? So figuring out what works for you and what doesn't. So I'm inviting you into switching from being rigid, I have to follow these rules or I'm bad, and instead exploring internal referencing, meaning how can I look inside and honor my body's innate intelligence and open up to the possibility that I get to be curious, right? I get to be in a relationship to my body, which is a very flexible and positive experience. And when you're relating to something, there's an exchange, right? A back and forth, like curiosity, feedback, and then curiosity, and then feedback, and then evaluation and reflection, versus being in this rigid state of right and wrong, good or bad, because of a particular diet, or dare I say, trend, right? We've seen trends in diets for sure. So when a relationship is do what I say and that's it, that's not really much of a relationship, right? So we're getting into, with our bodies, how can we be together? How can I trust my body and listen to my body and give and get feedback and reflect and honor it and give it what it needs and what it's asking for? That's a relationship. So the next paradigm is your perfect diet, or the way of eating that's working for you, is going to change as you change. There's that word, change, right? I like to think of it as, you can't be rigid about diets because you're constantly growing and changing. Your phases of life are growing and changing. So the way you need to eat is going to grow and change. It's not something static, right? And I know you might be thinking, can you just tell me how to eat, what to eat, and when to eat it, and I'll just do it forever, right? But it's not really like that, because we're growing and evolving beings. And sometimes we have a hard time accepting that because we get really rigid about it again, right? I don't like change. This worked for me, so why is it not working anymore? Well, if I'm in my 40s, it's unlikely that I'll eat the same way I ate in my 20s and get the same results. It's very, very unlikely. I'm a totally different person, and my body is different. And let me tell you, my body's been through some stuff. If you're pregnant, if you're just recovering from having a baby, if you're working from home or you work in an office and travel a lot, if you're getting super active, like training for a marathon, all of those things are going to be different, right? You're going to have to, your way of eating is shifting to support who you're becoming and what's going on in your life at any given moment. And if you're a menstruating woman, your dietary needs even change as you cycle, right? So instead of change being the enemy, like I just figured out what was working, right? Instead of that, I just need one way of eating that's forever. That's not going to work, right? We want to reframe it to, the only certainty in life is change. So if we can accept that and go, okay, how can I use food and lifestyle choices to support what's changing in my life versus feeling like everything should always stay the same? And the next paradigm is, your relationship with your food and your body impacts your health, sometimes even more powerfully than the actual food we eat. This is a big one. This is a big one for me because I want to focus on wellness. And to me, wellness just doesn't mean food and exercise, right? This is not just about that. It's about life. Your relationship with your body is the longest relationship you're ever going to have in your lifetime. So let's make it a good one. So if what is it that you're believing when you're relating to your body, right? And what is it that you want to believe? So the good news is that we can always upgrade our beliefs and change our beliefs. And that's part of what you're learning here as you're laying this foundation to discover how beliefs create our experiences and our experiences confirm our beliefs. So if your belief is, for example, food is the enemy, then every time you eat, even if you're eating the healthiest superfood on the planet, your mind is already loading up, food is the enemy. That puts your body on alert. And now it has to be on the defense. Your immune system has to kick up. I'm at war, the enemy is entering. So again, even if you're eating the healthiest food, your body is armed against it and will resist it in some way. So it's possible to have optimum nutrition intake, but if you believe that food is the enemy, that's not really going to work, right? Until that belief is shifted, it really doesn't matter what you eat because the food has been coded in this belief system and therefore in the body as the enemy. I know that's pretty deep, but it really is all about our beliefs. And the reason I wanted to touch on this is that we're laying this foundation in this program, in my program, and it's powerful because we can transform or shift our beliefs. And the ability to do that will have you experience success with your own health and your own life. And that's part of why when I'm working with clients, just telling them, eat this, don't eat that, and do this exercise is not the total answer. Yes, I totally believe people need direction and support when it comes to food and movement, but that's not nearly enough when you're really working with people to make real change, because you have to be able to change your relationship to food and diets, your relationship to your body, and really change your beliefs. Paradigm number 7, every symptom, every craving, or every behavior around food has a positive intention. This is a dramatic shift in thinking, right? Every symptom, craving, or behavior around food has a positive intention. So therefore, symptoms, cravings, or behaviors around food that you might not like, they're not the problem. They're actually just the best solution that you've come up with so far. So what do I mean by the phrase having a positive intention? So imagine that every symptom, craving, or behavior around food or health actually wants the best for you. It's like if I'm binge eating actually has a positive intention for me. It's trying to give me something that it knows that I want. It's just the part of me that binge eats hasn't come up with a better solution to get my needs met. So instead of shaming or criticizing or judging that behavior or whatever behavior you have that you don't like, instead you look at it and appreciate it's trying to do something for me and use it as an invitation to seek a new and better solution. Eating releases serotonin, the pleasure chemical, right? Any eating. You could be eating a salad and it will release serotonin. So binge eating is actually a method that we use to feel better when we're sad, mad, angry, stressed, embarrassed, overwhelmed. It literally makes us feel calm in the moment. But it actually isn't a healthy coping mechanism, right? So we can look at it with curiosity instead of judgment and ask, what is it I'm seeking? We're actually emotional eating to avoid feeling the negative feeling, right? We eat so that we can have a new feeling, that feeling of calm, and not actually address the emotion that we're experiencing. So the program also brings to focus why we emotional eat and how we can learn to feel our feels and process them in a healthier way. And the final paradigm today is that nourishment is about so much more than food. It is about food for sure, but it's about so much more. It's about everything we consume. All of our senses are consuming the world around us all the time. So if nutrition is the process of taking in nutrients, then consider what you're taking in from the world all day long. You're taking in and consuming your environment, your relationships, the conversations you have, the thoughts inside your head, the sunshine, the fresh air, the movement of your body, sleep, sex, sensuality, your connection to that which is greater, higher power, or whatever it might be. All of those nutrients nourish your well-being. So what I am passionate about is how to help you become deeply fed in all of these areas so we can have wellness. And to me, like I said earlier, that is all encompassing. And the journey to better health includes movement and food for sure, but it also includes a whole lot more. And this is another reason why health coaching is so amazing to me. We can't put health in a box, right? Your whole environment, your whole life affects your health. Everything does. And if we're judging our health, our family, our work, our hobbies, our finances, our relationships, right? If we're juggling those things, think about which balls bounce and which will break if you drop them. I love that analogy, right? So all of those things, you have all these balls in the air: family, health, life, nutrition, work, extracurricular activities, finances. I want you to think about which balls are made of glass and which will bounce, right? I will dare to say that family and health are the ones made of glass. You can't let them drop. I mean, even without your health, you can't give what you want to your family. So if you're looking for a sign to look after you, this is it. So to recap, those are the 8 paradigms about nutrition, food, and body that are laying this foundation for a completely new approach to the way we do wellness. And I hope they will help guide you as you deep dive into your wellness, right? This is your journey. It's all about you, and what that means for you. Because this coach no longer believes in diets, right? The word diet means what you eat, but a diet has such a negative connotation. And I really want to bust us out of diet culture. Again, I do offer one-on-one coaching for the Total Transformation Program, which is shifting now into the Ditch the Diet solution. So that's what I do. It's a 12-week, 90-day program, one-on-one. I also offer that in a group session. The one-on-one obviously is more curated to your personal goals and your needs. But then the group session also offers that sense of community and helping each other. So that's what's going on right now for Jenn Cullen Wellness. The other thing is that I do have the Facebook page, Jenn Cullen Wellness. So I would love for you to join, drop your comments. Let me know that you saw me on She Is Me, and let me know what resonated with you today. I thank you so much for being here today and for letting me be a part of this amazing group. As you can tell, I love talking about this, and would love to connect with you more. So I hope that we will definitely touch base again. Thank you so much.